So
Hey,
we
this is
are.
Steve calling in.
All right.
Hey. Hey,
What
guys.
Hey,
is? What is
it's
Angela?
Angela.
It's
Yeah,
Angela.
we were twiddling our thumbs here. Wait, gosh, wait, we'll just wait. We're twiddling our thumbs here, waiting for you to call in, and it's good to hear your voice.
Good to hear yours. Here I am.
Yeah,
And
you are.
welcome.
So you were in a tell us about your experience at this film that you were in. It was an award-winning film. Last week it won the best movie or the best film at a film fest at the Frozen Film Festival. So talk to us about that.
It did. Okay, so the movie's called In Between. It was a short film that I did, about 2.5 years ago, and it went to the Frozen Film Festival last Saturday, I guess, and yeah, it was among 13 other films and came out as the best overall film for the whole festival, which was awesome, and we were quite surprised when we won the award because they had broken the films down into categories, and ours was in the drama category, and we didn't win the best drama category. So when it came time for them to announce the best overall film, and they said our name, we were quite shocked.
Wow!
But it was obviously a great experience to be there for the win. I've had a couple other films go to festivals and win things, but I was never present there when they announced the winners. So this was pretty cool to be there for it.
I was there. Not to boast too much about
Here
me.
we go.
I was actually there to see it, and it was a very powerful film, and it was well done, and Angela just acted her hair off in that thing. It was great.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I did. I acted my hair off.
I don't know if you heard, but we were talking about you and singing your praises before you called because I know that I really enjoy, and I don't get to do it as much as I want, but I really enjoy doing improv with you because you're such a you have such great emotional reactions. You're a great listener, and you just really play off your partner well. So I enjoy working with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been pretty interesting the longer that I've improvised, and when I watch myself back on tape or whatever, or when I listen to what the audience is responding to that I do, it's all about my emotional levels, and my face tends to sell a lot.
Oh yeah.
It tends to just give a very wide variety of emotions that are pretty clear. I'm pretty clear about how I'm feeling all over my face.
Yeah, and that's so easy. It makes it so easy for your partner to play off of because they know how you're reacting, what you're going to do, and it just makes the scene better.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I will tell the audience a little bit about In Between if you'd like me to. Otherwise, we can.
Sure, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Move on. And Dave, you can kind of interject too from the audience viewpoint as to like your interpretations of things. But basically, our writer and director Andrea Pabon wrote this. I don't know, 3+ years ago, and it was kind of her baby for a long time. Very close story to her heart, based off of an abusive relationship that she had been in. And then she based the character of my son off of her autistic brother. So it was very, very personal to her. And so it's the story of a woman named Lucy, whom I play, and her being in an abusive marriage, and how she and her son deal with that. And what In Between represents is exactly how it sounds. It's kind of where they go in between their reality and their fantasy worlds to kind of show their real emotions, whether that be anger or sadness or fear or whatever. And so within the film, there are these 3 different time frames almost, where you'll see scenes happening in the present day, and then you'll see scenes happening where it's just a picture of them in the in-between screaming or crying. And then each character has a place where they go to escape it all. And for Lucy, it's water. And so I have several water scenes. Some of them are good, some of them are bad representations of her way of escaping. And then Avery, her son, kind of becomes this monster who wants to hurt his stepdad from obviously hurting his mom. And so it's a short film, and it leaves the audience kind of, I think, wanting to see more of what happens with these characters. But yeah, the cinematography was just beautifully done. The production design was amazing. Everything about this film is beautiful. It's it's so interesting to me how it can be so beautiful when it's about such a dark topic. But
right.
yeah, it was one of the most emotionally draining things I've ever done in preparation for this film. And during the film, I was able to bring a lot of experience of my own into my character because I had been in a pretty abusive relationship in high school, so it was pretty close to my heart as well. But yeah, those are the kinds of films I enjoy doing because I love being able to use my real life experience to draw from, and it just makes it that much more real for me and for the audience.
Right.
That's incredible, Dave. How was your reaction to that?
It was one of those things where I'm sitting there because I'm watching my sister in the Lord and somebody I love and care about deeply. It's like I know it's a movie, but I'm like, dude, that son, he's big enough. He can come take that man. But like I'm cheering for like some sort of retribution. Like, come on, defend your mom, give him something. But and I mean, and that's what you were mentioning, that the audience wants more because they want to see your son Avery in the movie where he's in that in between place where he, for lack of a better description, kind of hulks up and almost like turns into the Incredible Hulk in that one shot. It's like, yes, now's the time that he's going to save his mom, and unfortunately, it doesn't always have a happy ending.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think that is really representative of how so many people feel. They feel like, I want to be able to do this, but I'm too afraid, or I can't, or whatever. And the reality is that they just don't. And that's exactly what happens with Avery's character. He kind of dreams or imagines that he does this to his stepfather, but the reality is he's just not emotionally strong enough, or he's not able to for whatever reason. And I think a lot of people relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
there's almost
sorry, go ahead, Dave.
For me, just doing my dime store analysis, I would think that it's almost like there's a fear of, if I cross that line and go to that, am I tapping into the same kind of evil that I'm fighting against? It's almost like you're afraid to cross into that.
That's exactly what Andrea wanted the audience to get from it. She said that had he killed him, then he would be no better than his stepfather. And so it was kind of this, he was able to go there in his mind and do it, but in actuality, he never carried through with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
it's a pretty deep film. A lot of symbolism and a lot of things to think about.
Now, was that the first time that you had seen that, Angela?
No, it was not the first time I had seen it. The first time I saw it, once it was done, I just started crying because I knew how much work had gone into this for such a short piece. But it's just such a powerful film. and yeah, it's just so beautifully told that I couldn't have been happier with it when I saw it the first time. So, and there's a part towards the end where I do a voiceover. So I had, like a voiceover session in the studio, and was able to record this little piece, and then hearing it plugged into the film during this particular scene, it was probably one of the best moments for me in the film, to hear my own voice and to relate it back to my own experience. Was pretty powerful for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
is there a way that people could see this who, like, online? Is it online anywhere, or?
It's not released online yet. The way it works with short films is they usually finish out their festival circuits, and then they'll release it online once they've kind of exhausted all festivals and things like that. So, no, but I will let you know when it is available to see.
Please do.
And, yeah.
So now I want to talk to you about your baby, your project that you have.
My baby.
That it's a Raven's Cry. You've been working on this as long as I've known you, which is about a year and a half. Tell us how this came about, how it got put on your heart to do a project like this. And
okay, well, here comes the deep story.
Well, it's fine, yeah.
Yeah. So A Raven's Cry has been kind of in existence for a little over 2 years now. God laid it on my heart when I was playground with a little boy that I was nannying for one day, and I sometimes feel silly saying this, but I can't feel silly because this is just what I know God did. He sent me that day in this park 4 ravens that were following me everywhere that we went. They followed me down the street from tree to tree to tree. As I walked, they followed me into the playground. They kept getting closer to me, and I finally just turned around and looked at these ravens, and then I looked up to God and I said, "What is this? Why are you sending these birds to me right now?" And I went home and I started researching ravens, and I found some pretty cool information. My great-grandmother was Cherokee, and so I've always taken great pride in being part Cherokee. And my middle name is, I was named after my Cherokee grandmother. So her name was Lucille. So my mom's middle name and my middle name are Lucille. So I've always known that my first and middle name mean angelic bringer of light. Lucille meaning bringer of light. And so as I started researching ravens and their significance, what their symbolism is, how God used them in the Bible, things like that, I was reading a lot of the same things over and over and over again about how they're viewed as these dark, ominous creatures, but that, like, the Native American people view them as bringers of light. And when I read that, I just immediately got choked up because I knew in my heart what God was starting to do, which I'll tell you in a minute. But so, I kept reading, and this information is talking about, they're bringers of light. They renew the earth clean. They take care of the scum of the earth, and all of these symbolic things. And so I knew that day in my heart that God was telling me that it was time to tell my story. And that was the story of how I was sexually abused when I was 3 years old. This was something that only one person in my life knew about, and that was my husband, Darren. I had never told my family. I had never told my best friends. I had never told anyone. And I knew that I needed to write about it. And so shortly after all of these things are kind of occurring in my heart, I sat down at my kitchen table one night and I wrote my first short film. And I did it all in one night. I don't know how long it took me, but I sat on my kitchen table until it was done. And I had been a hobby writer my whole life. Even as a kid, I loved to write. But I'd never really gone through like formal training. But as an actor, I've been a part of so many films that I had a basic idea of how a short film is written. And so I came up with this piece, and I called it A Raven's Cry. I named my lead character Raven, based off of myself. And about A Raven's Cry, just kind of symbolizing this was Raven's time to cry. And so I had this short film, and I knew that I couldn't do anything with it until I told my family. And so it took me going through therapy in order to prepare me how to tell my parents, how to tell my brother, and how to start really dealing with this, because I had held it inside of myself for 35 years. And I realized, things, of course, started just kind of getting pretty raw and real in my life. And I'm not going to lie, it was the last couple of years have been more than difficult in so many ways, because so many things have come up as a result of everything that I'm dealing with. And so I went through the process of telling my family. That was by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. My parents were both very loving and supportive, and of course believed me. They, of course, were incredibly sad and hurt for me, and very sorry, and so this was, I just want to clarify that this was a family friend. It was nobody in my family that had done this to me. It was a family friend that was no longer a part of our family. And so we have kind of just all, dealt with this together, which has been great. So anyways, it has gone from, in the last year, it has gone from a short film to now a pilot-length episode. That the prayer is that it's the pilot episode for a series that would be on like a web-based series, so like on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. I have an amazing producer and an amazing director who is also helping me co-write the pilot episode, and the more editing we do, the better it's getting. And it's so now the pilot length episode is obviously more detailed. It holds still my truthful events via flashbacks, and then it has a lot of present day material as well, which is all based on elements of my real life. So the characters are all based on people in my life. Some of the characteristics of myself are all part of Raven. She is a cop who really comes face to face with her childhood trauma and then has to decide what to do with that information. She, the big picture is that she becomes an advocate for people who have been sexually assaulted. But it's going to be unlike any other, crime show out there, because it digs more deeply into the lead character's psyche and her own personal life than a lot of these other crime shows out there do. So that's kind of how it's different. It really digs into her own personal life and her story, and not just on chasing a new criminal every episode or whatever. So,
wow.
Yeah, so that's the gist
Angela,
of it.
if I can ask you this, will you be stepping into the lead role on that? And
I will.
So,
Yes.
Okay. How? I mean, because that seems like that's going to be pretty heavy. So, how are you preparing for that? And what are you psychologically and physically?
Yes, it's going to be heavy. Yes, it's going to be very difficult at times. But I would rather have no one else portray that character than me, because no one else knows me better than I do, except for God.
Mm-hmm.
And how am I preparing for that role? Well, Raven is a fighter. She's been a fighter her whole life, mentally and physically, and she kind of understands when she gets older why she's such a fighter. And so Raven's character, she does box, kickbox, jiu-jitsu, kind of the whole mixed martial arts thing. And so that's been a very big part of my life as of the last year or so. I am training with my stunt coordinator and at the gym separately. So I box, I kickbox, I am getting into now jiu-jitsu. And running, and yeah, it's a lot of physical training, which my body is kind of yelling at me for all the time. It's hard, and I'm exhausted almost all the time. So yeah, the physical training is kind of taking the priority right now, alongside of continuing to edit the pilot version, and we will start auditioning actors very, very soon, as soon as we have the finalized version and, get sides put together and things like that. So I'd say within the next few weeks we'll start auditioning.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Angela. That's sorry to hear about that, but man, it honestly sounds like that this is going to be a really, really productive project, and a really great productive project that's going to reach a lot of people.
Thank you. It's what God has been telling me from the beginning is that He's teaching me how to use my voice so that other people can be brave enough to use theirs. Mm-hmm. And my prayer is that the things that I went through will be able to help someone else in the long run, and to me that's worth it. And I know that sounds really weird and odd, but it's been interesting how along this journey already, just sharing my story via Facebook or talking to individuals, I've had a handful of people message me privately and tell me thank you for sharing this, because it's my story too, and they told me that I'm the first person they've ever told. And
wow.
I just thank God so much for that, because just those people coming to me, they've already started sharing their voice, and that right there there is power in using your voice, because Satan wants to keep everything in the dark. And when we share our voice and we speak the truth of what happened, it brings it to the light, which is again what Raven symbolizes. She is bringing the truth to light, and yeah, it's pretty deep.
Yeah, no, that's wow. That's a lot of stuff, a lot of heavy stuff, and I will be praying. I speak for Dave too. We'll be praying for you every step of the way, that God just continues to bless this project that you're doing.
And it's been absolutely amazing since knowing Angela, just watching how she's handled the ups and downs. And there's even one point during this process where Angela had to find her voice, like, legitimately, and make a really painful and a tough change. And she faced it. She made the change, and then it was like God opened the doors and just opened the windows from heaven, and really got this project going. I don't know if you want to talk more about
praise God on that. Praise God on that. Angela, I know, me and Dave, we love you, and anything that we'll do anything we can to help you out with, just anything.
Thanks
again for sharing. And I know just in the year and a half that I've known you, it's just been an absolute joy to just hang around you, not just to perform, but just to hang around you and just to get to know you.
Thank you.
Is there a website or a Facebook page so people can follow progress and find out more updates about Raven's Cry?
There is, and thank you for the reminder, because I have a lot of updates that I need to put on there. Yes, if people would like to go to the website, it is www.aravenscry.com. aravenscry.com.
aravenscry.com.
Yes, sir.
And,
perfect. All right. And what is going to be our tradition as we bring in guests on our show is we actually challenge you to a stupid trivia contest.
It's not stupid, Dave. It's not stupid. This is not going to be stupid. I have questions, and Dave has not heard I will repeat, Dave has not heard these questions, doesn't know the questions. So I'm going to ask, we're going to have a little fun here, but I'm going to ask each of you a question, and
okay.
It'll just be the same question, but because these are really difficult. So
right.
Let me get out. Angela, I'm going to ask you first. Okay, it's just 3 questions here. 3 questions.
Okay.
Good job, Ryan. Way to be prepared for this. Yeah. So. All right. How many nipples does the female possum have? How many nipples does the female possum have?
Oh, Lord. I am going to say...
Oh, no. I'm sorry. 8. Phew. A lot of nipples.
I'm going to go with 13.
Wait. Dave, you're right. Wow.
What?
You just guessed that, Dave. Dave, come on. No Google.
I grew up
Dave.
down south.
Google. You did not Google. Did you just Google possum nipples, Dave?
I really did not. What I actually did was I'm actually putting a link on our Haha Men Facebook page to a Raven's Cry as we're talking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, awesome.
You just shouted out the number 13. All right. The next question was, in 1988, Michael Jackson published his biography called Moonwalker. What famous person edited that book? Angela, we're going to start with you.
Good golly. What famous person edited his... Oh, what? I have no idea.
That's not easy.
Let's see. Do I get a hint, or can I ask a question?
I'll give you a little bit of hint. Famous family.
Okay. Was it like? Oh my gosh. Oh shoot. One of the partridges.
We're gonna.
I have no idea.
No, I'm gonna. I just simplify. It wasn't Danny Partridge. No, it wasn't any of the Partridge family. Dave, you only have 5 seconds in.
All right, my first instinct would have been Elizabeth Taylor because they're so close, but I'm gonna go with Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
Oh wait, I changed my answer. I think it's Bill Cosby.
See the thing that you gotta do when you're walking into talking. Sorry, Dave. What was your guess again? Bill Cosby.
I went with
now.
Jackie O.
Yes, that's right, Dave. Wow.
What?
Dave, you're so stupid. Stop looking this up, Dave.
I promise I am not looking anything up.
Oh my God.
Okay. Ravenscry.com.
Family.
Here we go. The last question, then we'll let you go here. In the early stage version of The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's faithful companion Toto was replaced by a cow named what?
Oh my gosh. I'm completely clueless on this. Lulabelle.
No, Lulabelle. That was a good guess, though. It wasn't Lulabelle. Dave Ebert, what is your answer?
Well, little known fact about The Wizard of Oz is that one of the stagehands was named Imogen. So that's the name of the cow.
What?
Yes,
Dave, you're looking up these answers.
Yes. Dave Ebert. Oh, I guess you win. You win, Dave. Dave wins.
Dave wins.
All right.
Fine.
Dave wins the battle of the.
Fine. I see how you guys are.
Angela, Mrs. B, love talking to you. It's good to hear your voice. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for
You're
putting
welcome.
together
This was fun.
This movie that you're doing, or this pilot that you're doing. And it's ravenscry.com. You can check it out. Follow Angela on Facebook. She's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't follow her in real life. She's got kids.
No, don't do that. Unless you're
That's
a Raven,
creepy.
then you get like really cool stuff.
And I'm a fighter, so I will punch them in the face.
You are. I've been there's been like, man, I don't want to cross that person.
And I have a serious roundhouse kick. Just letting everybody know.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with that.
All right, guys.
I saw your Facebook profile pic, and I was like, wow, that is one tough mamma jamma. Angela, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.